All right. This sucks. This sucks more than a cheap Friday night in Thailand. That's what happens, man. This sucks. This sucks. This list is crap. So I'm gonna do our own list. Right? Now, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we're missing. I think we're pretty making sure my pen's working. There we go. I'm pretty sure we're missing some stuff. Right. Yeah. I think we're missing some games. We got the original Mortal Kombat, so we've got MK1, MK2, MK3. There's no Ultimate, there's no 4. Oh, sorry, there's no Ultimate, there's no Trilogy. We got Deadly Alliance, we got Deception in there, we've got Armageddon. And then we've got, and then 2011, so MK9, and then MK10, MK11, and MK1. This is by GameSpot. What do we do? What do we do here? Let's we'll do up our own list, right? But before we do, now tell me a bearded Liu Kang wouldn't look badass, right? Tell me a bearded Liu Kang wouldn't look badass. Look at that man. Right. Anyway, moving on. So let's do up our list. This list sucks. That's right. That's what I had last in my thumbnail. So we're gonna go from best to worst. But see, the thing is though that they're missing, like, they're missing some, right? So let's go from one to, like, best to last, and we'll make it small font. Can you guys read that still? Yep. Correction. Mortal Kombat Trilogy. For me, I would say would be. Hang on, let me redo that because I had it on vector. Let's put it on floating. Right. Numero uno. I think so. I think, like, actually, you know what? It's got to be shared. It's got to be shared, right? Because this is just fact, right? I can have two number ones. You can just deal with it, right? Right? Two number ones, right? Because God gave us two testicles. You just can't pick. You don't have a favorite. It's like choosing your own children. Which one do you like more? No, bro. I like them all. Right? Now, this is the reason why I chose those two as number one. It's very simple. Trilogy, obviously, because it was a culmination of the entire 2D era. Absolutely brilliant, right? However, it's also like MK 2011 or MK9 kind of felt like a trilogy game. That's why I love it so much too. It kind of felt like a trilogy game. Like they came out of the gate with this game, right? And they're like, yeah, man, we're gonna give everyone the favorites, right? Anyway, let's change colors. Number 2, we'll make it red. Number 2. Oh, that's easy. That's easy, man. Easy. Hang on. Right. So I talk about this when I review my Mugen games, right? You should go check them out, not because I reviewed them, just because Mugen games are awesome and I like showing them to you guys. So there's 2 types of Mugen games I love to play. The ones where they go really crazy and have like big rosters, and the ones where they're like, no, this is my vision. I want to craft this like perfectly sort of sculptured version. Even though it's a small roster, it's great. And they've done that with the MK games. So they've done like Mugen versions, MK1, MK2, MK3. And they've just kept their roster as original, but they might have added in the secret characters. That sort of stuff is awesome. It's really, really good, right? And Mortal Kombat 2, the reason why it goes at number 2 after the first 2 is because it is to me, it's a perfect MK game, right? It's so strange to say that like the 12 was like the absolute perfect. Were there characters we kind of wished in there? We wondered if there were secrets like Sonya and Kano, considering it was the second game and these 2 characters weren't in there. But yeah, I think that yeah, it is pretty much perfect. It's pretty much perfect. Right. Now, so hang on, and I'm gonna cross off stuff off the list over here. So what have we done? We've done Mortal Kombat 2. Hang on, I've got to change that color. You're wrong. Wrong. Right. And then of course they didn't have trilogy. Now, I will be a little bit lax and just say that Ultimate you could include in that as well. So let's go on to number 3. Let's change the color. Number 3, we'll go yellow. What's going to be number 3? This might surprise some people, but I think it's like... Actually, it won't surprise anyone, but I... Can I have 2 number 3s? Can I do that? Can I break my own rules again? No, I'll just do one after the other. Actually, you know what? Oh, it's so hard because... No, I'm going to do 2 number 3s because it's my effing channel. I'll do what I want. Right? You just deal with it. Right? You just deal with it. Hang on. There we go. Right? Now the reason is this, right? Because I'm going, this is my list, right? This is my baby, right? You go make your own babies. The reason why I put those 2 together as well is because I love Deception. I love Deception's Conquest mode. It is absolutely, I still think to this day, the best story mode that they've ever put out. Now, it was a step back from, did I spell Armageddon? I did spell it right, whatever. I think, hang on, is it in there? Yeah, no, that's right. Anyway, it just looks weird because the O's and the D's look the same, almost the same. But I was missing some characters. Right? I didn't like the noob smoke mechanic. I didn't like not having Reptile in there. Reptile was sorely missed in Mortal Kombat Deception. It's a real shame. If they had Reptile in there and split the two ninjas, it would have been like perfect, almost perfect. The Conquest mode was brilliant. The mini games with puzzle combat and chess combat were absolutely brilliant. And then to add on to that, and because Deception was such a stark contrast, massive contrast to MK Deadly Alliance, right? Which is why Deception just kicked ass. You know, even all the stages and everything like that. You know, death traps and whatnot. Armageddon, even though the Conquest mode was different, it was more of a sort of like fighting for Streets of Rage type beat 'em up. Not bad. We've got a couple of extra additional characters that were thrown in there. Brand new Mortal Kombat characters with Taven and Davin, right? Or Dagon, or whatever his name is. We got the entire Mortal Kombat roster up to that point. I think it's over 60 characters. We also got Creator Fighter, which has never come back since, which is a shame. We have the custom fatality. Now, I know a lot of people that don't like it. I actually really like it. Here's something I would do for a future MK game. I would have 2 fatalities standard, and then you can also do a custom one. And the custom one, any character can do. You know, they can pull out swords, they can burn them to a crisp, whatever. Just, you know, go nuts. And part of that, like in Armageddon, was doing like the custom, you know, I'll do this, and I'll do this, and I'll do it. It was really cool. I loved it. Had some air combos as well that were thrown back in. And we got the entire roster. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Just brilliant. Right? So it's very hard for me to separate the two because Deception like scratched almost all the itch, and Armageddon picked up the slack. And it's like, yeah, man, this is awesome. This is really cool. Some of the characters like Natara were very, very like limited in their special moves. Like very boring, which is kind of suckful. You know, and some characters were copy and paste to a degree of other ones. But it was still kind of cool to load up that gigantic roster. And as Total MK showed me in a live stream, when he first saw Armageddon, like betas, at an E3, it used to be like a flip screen. So you got like the main character select screen, and then it would flip around. It's like, oh my god. It was crazy. Anyway, number 4. We'll make it green. We'll make it green. Oh, hang on. Let me. I gotta cross off these games. Hang on, one sec. So we got rid of that one, and we've got rid of that one. Change the color to green. So I know they got Mortal Kombat 3 in there. So it's sort of strange because like Mortal Kombat 3, then Ultimate, then Trilogy. So like obviously things change from Ultimate and Trilogy from MK3. So I think I will add in that eventually, but I'm just trying to think. I think originally, I think so. Yeah, I think so. So there's a little bit of a pattern here I've noticed in myself just doing this video. Some of my favorites are like the collaboration ones, right? Or semi-collaboration ones, like a one that's not saying it, but it is one, like MK9. And then I get like you know, the standalone title, and then kind of like, you know, Deception Armageddon starting to creep up with roster size, and then we get the big collaboration one, and then tone back down. And of course, my first Mortal Kombat game I ever played was MK1 in the arcade. I hired out the Sega Master System version, and then the first MK game I ever bought was MK1 on the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, and that was it. My life was over. That was it. You never saw me again till now. Bald. Right. So we'll take that off the list as well. Now, I will now. This is. You know what? I think I'm gonna do it, man. I think I'm gonna do it, right? And I don't give a shit because it's my bloody channel. I'll do what I want, right? Let's get some Outworld Purple in here. I'm gonna throw in Mortal Kombat 3, and I'm also gonna throw in Ultimate MK3. Right? Well, that's, you can't do lists like that. Shut up. I'll do whatever I want. Right? If GameSpot can put out this garbage, let me do my own. So yeah, so MK Trilogy, yeah, like I would put MK3. Like MK3 was really unique in the sense that like we had no ninjas except for Sub-Zero, where it had such a massive roster of new characters, which was really, really awesome. Really great story as well. All the gloves were off. Shao Kahn was invading. You know, Cage was killed. Like, it was just nuts, right? And then I remember seeing Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 in the arcade for the first time, and I was just like, man, give me some toilet paper and WD-40. It's on like Donkey Kong. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my god, Scorpion Dip, Riptide, who's them? You know, and then when they unlocked the lockable character, the lock characters, like, oh my god, amazing! It was so cool. It was literally arcade DLC. It was fantastic. So I've got to have them there together because I played a ton of MK3. You know, because I was able to find favorites in. Well, okay, when I say not only ninjas Sub-Zero, I mean like human ninjas. We obviously had Sextoy and Tampax, Cyrax and Sector as ninjas as well. So Cyrax kind of became a hybrid like replacement for Scorpion for me, because Scorpion's always been my main. And then of course when we got Cyber Smoke, then naturally I gravitated to Cyber Smoke as well. But overall the cast is they actually did a really good job. It's actually really surprising. They did a really, really good job when you think about it. So anyway, I'll take out that. Useless. What a hopeless list, right? Now, and they didn't have this. They didn't have this one in there as well, right? Now, I don't know why, but we're gonna have. Don't worry, I'll change the color. Right. This was one of those instances where, you know, there was actually a home version that got something a bit extra. You know what I'm saying? A bit extra on the side. Let's make it that color. Right. And I have to do these together because they are one and the same game. That's why I'm doing it, right? They are one and the same game. You can almost think of like Armageddon as a massive extension of Deception, right? So MK4, I remember seeing it the first time in the arcade. It had the big curtain, you know. It's like, whoa, this must be really violent. It's because it was in 3D, right? First Mortal Kombat that we got in 3D. I did a review of the PlayStation 1 version of War Gods, which was essentially the testing ground for them doing Mortal Kombat 4, right? But what I loved about MK4, and then of course they did it with MK Gold by adding in the extra characters, which, to be honest, it really did round it out to a really nice, sort of perfect selection. But MK4 introduced some really good new characters, like Kai, which was really cool. You know, obviously we didn't have like Kano, but we got Jarek instead, so we kind of got that little bit of a hybrid there. We had for the first time in a Mortal Kombat game, we actually had things that we could like pull out, like weapons, or we could pick up stuff from the ground and throw them, or if our weapon got knocked loose, we could pick that up and throw it, or pick it up again. We could also dodge in 3D the first time as well. And of course, it was also a really unique time, you know, because we also got some spin-offs at around that time for the first time as well, with Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero and Mortal Kombat Special Forces, right? But the announcer, brilliant. Music, just absolutely amazing. The reason why it comes down further on the list is for one simple reason, and one simple reason alone. And it kind of really killed it for me. It was the first Mortal Kombat, MK4, where we could play as the end boss. Right? So, forgetting MK Trilogy, obviously. Right? What was the end boss in Deception? Who was the end boss in Deception? It was the Dragon King, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the Dragon King. That's right. So we couldn't play as the Dragon King. Armageddon was his name, Blaze, but that didn't matter because it was all the roster anyway. But all the other games, we could never play as the end boss. Up until that point, like, so if you're going chronologically, MK4 was the first title where we could actually play as an end boss, Shinnok. And I didn't like that at all. Didn't like it at all. Didn't like it. Just marketing around MK4 was nuts though. It was really, really cool. Right? I'm sure if Total MK watches this video, man, remember all the ads they used to do for MK4 and MK2 and stuff? They actually dressed people up in the kit. It was so cool. And of course in MK Gold, naturally we've got characters like Katana Melina, Baraka thrown in there, Kung Lao and Cyrax. So, you know, that was a nice rounding out of it, and only ever released on the Sega Dreamcast. So, yeah, we actually, there was no other, you know, there was nothing else. Now, what have we got left? Right? What have we got left? Here. And this is sort of like, this is where it actually gets hard. Right? And I think to be honest, right? This'll go up next, and then new color. Where's not new color? We'll go. Have I done that one yet? Sort of pinky. No, we've done pinky. We'll go darker purple. There we go. Right. So we'll put MK10 at number 7. Nothing against the roster. I thought it was a pretty good roster. What I didn't like is the fighting engine. It was a massive shift in how it felt from MK9. That's where I talked about in a lot of videos where I talk about this sticky, vacuumous, janky feeling. MK10, that's when it started. And then Injustice took over, and then it just hasn't been the same since. Right? So, good roster characters, great roster characters, including some new ones. Didn't care for Deborah though. Ugly ass bitch. Right? But, ultimately, and I like the outfits. Right? It was the last MK game that we didn't have gear pieces too. Love the stages to a degree. Didn't like the story. I thought the story was trash. And they were starting to go towards the whole military operation stuff, and it really sort of killed it for me. So it's not the fact that it's a bad game. I can pick it up and have some fun with it, but it's not memorable. If I could summarize this list perfectly, it's probably a combination of like what I absolutely love in a Mortal Kombat game and the memories. So what do we got left here? This is a real pickle. This is a real pickle, right? Because basically we're left, as far as I'm concerned, 4 pieces of shit. Right? Now I know some of you people out there be like, oh, right? But to be honest, right? I'm gonna do up the list, right? I'm gonna do up the list. What color should I make it? Maybe aqua. There we go. Right, so I'm going to do up the list. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing in order. Right? 8, 9, 10, and 11. Hang on. Okay. Can't see that. Yep. So this is probably, I know what I'll put last. Right? I don't think that's going to be any great shock. This one, 9 and 10's a quandary. Maybe. Shit. Oh, this is hard, man. Can't I just all stick them in the shit basket? Right. It's really difficult. I might do that, but I might regret it. because, yeah, it's sort of, so I'm gonna have to explain myself. I will explain myself. Actually, you know what? No, I'll leave it at that. No, no, I'll take that. Yeah, there we go. Let me explain myself, because this is literally like, you know, you got dog shit, cat shit, bird shit, llama shit. Which is the best shit? Like, you know, I'm struggling here, right? But so to me, it's the vibe of Mortal Kombat. Out of those last 4 games, the only one that actually felt like an actual Mortal Kombat game from top to toe, except for the simple weird reason, and well, it's not weird reason, Ed Boon in his gimmicks and copying everyone, decided to turn Deadly Alliance into a Tekken clone. It was shocking killing off Liu Kang, which is whoa, right? We got some new characters. It was also the start of a brand new engine, so we actually got to see Mortal Kombat in that style. Characters like Scorpion, Sub-Zero and all that looked amazing. Really great stages. Music was on point. Sound effects, like voiceover was great. Story wasn't too bad, you know, it was kind of like Invasions, except less gay. But they toned it down. They toned down the fatalities. They took out, I think, uppercuts, sweeps. They tried to make a Tekken game. And this is the first time in a Mortal Kombat series where we got combos that we could start without touching the other person. This is something else I don't like. In the 2D era and MK4 and MK Gold, when you fought to do a combo, when you're actually doing like the boom, 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 you actually had to be touching the other person, right? You couldn't just start Sub-Zero's 5 or 6 hitter that he had in MK3 unless you were physically on top of them. I love that. They were also controlled. In MK Deadly Alliance, they went the Tekken route, or the 3D route, which is what other 3D fighters do, like Virtual Fire, Soul Calibur, Tekken, which is you can just start doing your combo. You don't even have to touch them. It's so weird. I hate it. But it's the last time we got a Mortal Kombat game that felt like an actual Mortal Kombat game, like Midway, right? We also got the Crypt, right? No, yes. Yeah, it was the first time we got the Crypt, wasn't it? Yeah. Yes? Yeah, I think it was. Anyway, whatever. I could be wrong. If I'm not, whatever. But it was the last time it actually felt like a Mortal Kombat game, set in that Mortal Kombat universe. 9, 10, and 11. So 11's obviously a no-brainer. Like, just, what are you smoking? Just, right? I don't need to explain myself there. 9 and 10 is strange. Oh, sorry, yeah. So numbers 9 and 10, which is MK1 and MK11. This is the quandary. MK1 has a better roster of characters. It has an Asian theme that makes it feel it's heading in the direction of what I remember classic Mortal Kombat. But the combat itself, the gameplay itself, is far, far worse. Now you might say, well, we can do more. That's true. We can do juggle combos and stuff. But once you get the shine, you know, off your knob, and you realize that it's actually the entire system's broken. Now, if they bring in measures to counteract that stuff, fine. Okay. Right? Because, yeah, it's faster, less heavier than MK11. MK11's heavier. And whereas MK11, I didn't care for the roster. I hated them turning Scorpion's harpoon into an auto attack. It was a much more complete product. And like it was obviously with MK11, you know, we got like a big upgrade from MK10's graphics. But MK11 had better gameplay mechanics for both aggressive and defensive play. Right? So it feels more fair, which is why, as I've mentioned many times, so many people are going back to MK11, because it actually feels more of a fair Mortal Kombat fighting game. Right? But then the quandary naturally. So 9 and 10 could almost be like this this constantly rotating positional. Because it's like, yeah, this is a great roster. Some of these character designs are really great, and the stages are really great, but the combat's really bad because once you get in the air, you're doing all these massive combos. But MK11's roster is really bad, but the combat is actually more fair. We don't have these ridiculous combos, you know, that we can't get away from because we've got defensive measures in there, more complete product. The crypt was 1,000 times better. It was probably the best crypt we've ever had in terms of interactivity, but they turned the entire thing into a giant loot box. The whole game was pretty much a giant loot box. They did away with that to a degree, but now it's just insane grind. It's like a Korean MMO, right? So it's just a quandary. I've always said MK11, MK1, it's like MK 11.5 or 0.2 or something like that, right? In some respects, and obviously MK DC Universe. Right, so that's my list. It's my list. You just deal with it. Make your own damn list. Maybe in the comments, you can make your own list for me. I'd actually love to see what people's preferences are. Obviously, people, their first MK games, the 3D era, yeah, you're going to be hitting Deception up top. Armageddon up top, no doubt. I have no doubt about that. And keep in mind, like, I pretty much love from 7 up. It's just that from 8 down, you know, apart, like, so this is it's the interesting part, because 7, which is technically like the proper NRS MK release, even though MK9 was an NRS release, it still felt like a midway Mortal Kombat game. It still felt like the metal, you know, of Mortal Kombat. You know, hot chicks, big tits, fatalities galore, you know, awesome stage fatalities, you know, massive, awesome roster. Everyone got their favorite in there. Great online experience. It was great. You know, very little to criticize for me personally about MK9. MK10 is when the wheels started to fall off. But that's again, like, you know, it's sort of, with Deadly Alliance, it felt like an MK game in terms of like the vibe, but then the combat was Tekken with blood, you know. And then you get MK1 and MK11, which feel very sterile. Too much Special Forces stuff in MK11. MK1 scaled it back to a more Asian aesthetic, which I do appreciate. Some resurrected, abandoned storylines from John Tobias and made it in there, which is fine. I actually like the storyline in MK1. However, outside of that, it's boring, insane grind. Online is just the worst of the worst. And the combat system is like 98% in favor of one direction. But that's my list. You guys tell me in your comments, what's your list? I'd love to see what you guys would rank as your MK games, because everyone's different. And you know, at the end of the day, we're all MK fans and we want to have great MK games. And I do apologize if a lot of my videos do get negative. I don't mean them to be. I'm frustrated. How does a company that, as you look at my list, how does a company fail when you've had the blueprint the whole time? Anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think. Catch you next time.